It's the same movie we have seen time and time again. The New York Jets not only lose in prime time, but find a way to punch their fan base in the gut once again. The Jets are now 0-4. What can we possibly look forward to now? All this and much more, and a venting session for you Jet fans coming up on Rich Sports Talk. I am running out of words to say about the New York Jets. Monday night was a horror show. I said on this channel that if Aaron Glenn wanted to change the narrative, and when you keep throwing that adage, this same old Jets, you better show up. And the Jets flat out did it. Again, everyone, live stream going on after the game. We are live after every Jets game. Your comments, this is a great time to air your grievances, your therapy. Super chat to donate to the channel and jump to the front of the line. Like and follow so you don't miss any of our latest live streams. And again, if you're listening to us on the go, you can check us out wherever podcasts are available. This was disgusting. There's no other words to say. I said in the preview on Friday, Aaron Glenn, if you want to keep telling the Jets, hey guys, we're not the same old Jets. It's funny because I've seen this movie way too many times in my life. We've all seen this movie. We've seen it with different scripts, but we've pretty much seen the same movie over and over and over again. I'll get to the big picture in a bit. I'll talk about what this team even looks forward to down the stretch. But this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing. And I know Aaron Glenn and I know Darren Muji are trying to build a culture. They're trying to change the narrative. But you know what the narrative was tonight? The Jets haven't won in Miami now in 10 times. The Jets lose in Miami yet again. The Jets were going against a team that I have to remind people, if the Jets won this game tonight, there is a chance Mike McDaniel was getting fired tonight. He was going to get canned if the Jets won this game. Did you see how lifeless he looked, Mike McDaniel, on the sideline? He knows he's a dead man walking. And this team couldn't beat that team. And I know I'll talk myself into looking at the schedule ahead and, the teams don't have winning records. But this is Miami's team looked like they quit last week. They looked like they were done. But instead, we get this. This same old script. Let's just go back through this game. Let's relive this beautiful game. The first kickoff, the Jets had a penalty that backed them up to their own 14. They were down a field goal. They get a lane game inside the 20. But still, the Jets play well, smash mouth football, 12-play, 81-yard drive. And then the Jets have this incredible ability. I don't know what it is. They will do things on a football field that you will never see again in your lifetime. Braylon Allen is stretching out for the go-ahead touchdown, and he fumbles it on the inch-yard line. I have never in my life seen that. I have seen that hat reach for the goal line 1,000 times, and I have never seen someone fumble it. And just a kicker, Braylon Allen's a shorthanded back, 130 consecutive carries since college where he hasn't fumbled the football. Okay, tough break, gut punch, but hey, the Dolphins are inside the 5. Maybe the Jets can, keep it close. Oh, no. No. It's a 96-yard drive, 14-point swing in that quarter. Defense even a 4th and goal. Then they allowed Darren Waller, who hasn't played football in 21 months, to score a touchdown. 21 months. Hasn't played, but was good enough for 2 touchdowns tonight. And then on the next series, Braylon Allen is returning kicks, gets hit in the knee. We don't know the severity. We will update you soon we know. Explain this to me, Aaron Glenn. How is it your number 2 running back, your bowling ball of a back that was not being stopped the drive before, and I understand the fumble was heartbreaking, but you want to be a smash mouth football team. You want to run the football and dictate the pace of game with the running game. Why in God's green earth is your number 2 running back returning kickoffs? It is the most likely play for an injury. Isaiah Davis is a viable third down back, but if he gets hurt, it's not going to kill it. You have all these limp bodies of receivers you can throw back there. What about Arian Smith, this supposed track guy we drafted in round 4? You put Braylon Allen. Now, the Jets, here's a fun fact. What if Breece Hall gets hurt the next 2 weeks? What if Braylon Allen's out for an extended period of time? So this vaunted Jets running game in the span of a couple weeks could likely have Isaiah Davis and whoever's on the practice squad running the football. Does that sound like a well-coached team? And I'll tell you, Michael Carter got exposed tonight, got injured in this game. Brandon Stevens actually had pass breakup. I actually thought this was Brandon Stevens' renaissance game, and it shows why this team traded for Brownlee. I think Carter's going to get phased down. Brownlee's going to be the slot. But then the next drive, when the Jets are trying to get back in this game, not 1, not 2, but 3 illegal shifts, pre-snap penalties. And then on 4th and 5, they take a sack. They fumble it on the sack and allow the Dolphins to get the ball on the Jets side of the field. Just mind-boggling. Not only do the Jets make a bad situation bad, they somehow can creatively come up with a way to make the situation even more infuriating. Hey, Aaron Glenn, if your offense keeps, I don't know, having pre-snap penalties with the motion, they're not getting set, why don't you turn to your offensive coordinator and say, hey, maybe stop the damn shifting until we can stay on side. And then, surprisingly, Nick Folk, who could barely walk onto the field, drills a 58-yarder. This team is still within a touchdown. And we did it at halftime. We did it. We talked ourselves, and they could go down the field. They could go down the field and score. We get excited. We talk ourselves for 15 minutes. And on the first play, the kickoff to Isaiah Williams, fumbles it on the opening kickoff. Isaiah Williams also, who's supposed to be this kick return specialist, inside the 5, decides later in the game, you know what, I'm going to fair catch it, even though everyone up to the high school level knows if it's behind you and you're at the 10 or 5-yard line, you let the ball go into the end zone. If it takes a lucky bounce, you know what? You did the thing, the high percentage play. You want to talk about accountability? Isaiah Williams should be cut because he killed you, much like Xavier Gibson did. He killed you. And this was the guy that you brought in to replace him. Not a good look. You allowed 2 touchdowns to a tight end that hasn't played in 21 months. Not good. You had personal fouls that allowed the Dolphins to convert points on key. And I know people will complain about the refs. I know that Garrett Wilson play was a tic-tac call. I know that there was a couple of plays where Justin Fields was outbound. But here's the thing. Jets will get the benefit of the doubt because they make too many penalties. They do. They somehow refuse to use Garrett Wilson until the end of the game. I don't know why they don't design plays for him. It's good to see Mason Taylor being utilized in this offense. And then John Simpson, we defended him with the personal foul week 1, jumping on a player when you're trying to come back. Unbelievable. And then punting with 7 minutes left in this game. It was a 2-possession ball game. Even if Miami, you hold them to 3 and out, they're going to take 3 minutes off the clock. You cannot afford to do that. You burned 2 timeouts. There was nothing left in this game. This was just absolutely horrendous. And this is why I am furious, because we'll look back at the game. People will look at the box score. Hey, Justin Fields had 81 yards in that touchdown run. He was 20 of 27 for 226 yards. Also had a critical fumble. Also, you could tell the Jets still can't pick up blitzes, even though we've seen them not pick up blitzes for weeks. Be nice to, I don't know, show an adjustment there. And this defense, let me get to the whole picture, but I want to focus on one unit in particular. We talk about head coaches. And when we look at a head coach, they come from one side of the football. They come from a side, and that's the side that you would feel would be the most buttoned up unit. I saw at least flashes and some creativity from the offense, but I'm looking at this defense, and it is embarrassing how open receivers are, how you're not putting guys on Tyreek Hill, how you're letting this team run wild. And here's the thing, Steve Wilkes has got to go. I'm sorry, but this is another week where this Jet defense was lackluster. And the Miami Dolphins, let's face it, they took their foot off the gas. If they wanted to, they could have put a 30 up on the Jets. They could have. They just didn't want to. We talk about this great Jets defense. I'll give you two stats that sum it up. And they're both a goose egg, a 0. The Jets had 0 sacks in this game. 0. Against a bad offensive line, against Tua that's not overly mobile, and someone with Tua that, I don't know, if you hit him, might get knocked out of the game because he's had so many injuries. But no, couldn't even touch him. Couldn't even sniff him. No sacks. And then you want another fun 0? 0 turnovers this year. The Jets are the only defense in the National Football League, the entire league, that has 0 turnovers. 0 turnovers. With Sauce Gardner, Will McDonald, Jamie Sherwood, all these guys can't force a turnover. And you want to say, well, the first 3 games were against great teams, and I see Aaron Glenn at the mic, and I'm going to dissect his podium. If he says something about the same old Jets, I'm going to lose it. Again, Aaron Glenn kept saying, this is going to be a disciplined team. 13 penalties, 101 yards, another 100-yard penalty game. Aaron Glenn kept saying, we're going to change the culture here. We're going to change the image of the Jets. Well, you know what the image of the Jets is? It's the same as it's been for the last 15 years. You just got slapped on primetime television. You just got embarrassed in front of the country. You just had the whole team laugh at you. You had everyone in this nation laughing at the Jets, and this fan base once again going, why do I submit myself to this? Because what other team can not only have 3 fumbles in a game, but can never fall on a fumble? What other team could not only blow a 4th down, but fumble it and give the other team extra yards? And what team could fumble on the 1-yard line reaching for the goal line? You can't think of it. It is like unfathomable about what this team looks like. And again, comments, super chat to jump to the front of the line. But the Jets, again, 0 turnovers. The Jets, again, only gave 14 carries to Breece Hall, even though he was getting 81 yards. Braylon Allen was averaging 6.5 before he got hurt. Here's the receptions. Mason Taylor, 5 for 65. I thought he had a good game. Garrett Wilson, 4 for 42. They have to figure out how to get the receivers involved. Arian Smith was a no-show in this game plan. Like, they have to figure it out. And I'm sorry, the lack of bodies on this defense, you can't use an excuse. The whole thing Aaron Glenn kept saying last year was he was able to find guys off the street and make it work. But just the fact that this team is not only shooting themselves in the foot, but they are doing things that we as a fan base know are wrong. We know Isaiah Williams is no good at returning punts, but he's out there. All you had to do to turn the tide of this fan base was win this game, which was a very winnable game. And you saw it. You know the Jets, again, don't you give me this was a close game. You got lucky and got a garbage time touchdown to make this somewhat close. This was not a close game. This was a bad football team. You want to use the first 3 games, they were combined 10-2, fine. But this was your measuring stick. And you know what your measuring stick says, Aaron Glenn, in this front office? It's very simple. It says you're in last place in the AFC East. You want to change things. You want people to stop saying the term same old Jets. Actions speak louder than words. You can tell us to your red in the face you are trying to change the culture. But we need to see something. Because unfortunately, we have seen this movie over and over again. We are not into October. And I'm going to be talking about quarterbacks. I'm going to be talking about the NFL draft. I'm going to be talking about what pieces will be there at the NFL trade deadline. I'm going to talk about what pieces the Jets are going to move. That's what we're going to be talking about in October. I'll still preview the games. I'll still give you analysis after every game. But if you wanted a smidgen of hope for this fan base and a little bit of confidence from this fan base, you burned all that goodwill. You burned it on national television. And now I guarantee you, There is a echo chamber that wants you to be a one and done head coach. I hate the one and done head coach, but if this continues and I see the same thing over and over again, it's not just that this team is bad, but it's the same every week. Every week, there's no forced turnovers. Every week, there is dumb pre-snap penalties. Every week, the Jets are making mind-numbing penalties, personal fouls. They are not lined up. They are not in the right position. They don't have the right players out there. And more importantly, and most damning, they leave people on this defense wide open. Week one, it was, well, it's a new scheme. It's new verbiage. They're getting used to it. You are leaving guys wide open. The Dolphins are not a good football team. They are not. And I just saw the Dallas Cowboys put 40 up on a pretty damn good Packers defense. What do you think they're going to do to the Jets defense? I mean, it is just embarrassing. Let's get to some of your comments again. Super chat, jump to the front of the line. Comments. Justin Jets, such a joke of a franchise. Justin, it's bad because he changed his freaking profile picture. Well, I will say he didn't look like hacking because he just didn't do halfback dives up the middle. Great stat that they're putting up on SNY. Jets 0-4 starts. 2020, they finished 2-14. 2019, 7-9. That was the Adam Gase year. 2003, 6-10. Not looking good. Go look at the defensive rankings every game. Aaron Glenn's defense, he never coached. Total yards allowed, he only made better than 21 times. Cut ties with Muji and every player he signed. Yeah, it's not good. Not good. Refs have no respect for the Jets. You have to earn respect. This is a great comment from Justin Jets. You have to earn respect. People think you're a joke, and people know you have Michael Clemens and guys that make dumb personal foul penalties and hit late. You got to change it. Yeah, and that's a thing. Well, Quinnen was getting some good pressure, but it's the coverages. Tyreek Hill couldn't be stopped. The only thing that stopped him was his leg, unfortunately, and I'm praying for him, but I'm hoping he recovers well. But, man, it was frustrating. Thank you, Claire. Chris, CB Jets fan. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Always great to have you in here, Chris. Would love to hear your thoughts on this. You can tell the Dolphins after saying I've tapped. That's the thing. Like the Jets can't stop a blitz. Like this is the same thing every week, and I'm glad Gerald brought this up because one of the touchdowns to Achani, I can never say his freaking name right. Tony Adams should not play another snap for this freaking team. Tony Adams had him right in front, tries to arm tackle, and he walks in the end zone and takes Adams' lunch money with him. Play more. Play AZ Thomas. Play when he's ready, the new corner. Because I'm telling you, Michael Carter, I think, is done. I think he's toast. I look at this Jet defense, and yes, Jermaine will help when he comes back. But they're bad. They're bad. Do I see flashes? Kiko's penalty I didn't think was horrible. I know everyone was going nuts. I thought he had a decent game. I at least see some energy from some of these new players, at least some of these rookies. This is such a frustrating team because you could see a path where this team is easily a 2-2 football team. But the thing we said, and I said this all the time at the beginning of the season, the reason I thought this Jet team would be better is I thought you couldn't get worse coaching than this team had last year. But the Jets are basically saying through 4 games, hold my beer, we're going to prove you wrong. Because it has just been horrendous. This defense, and this is supposed to be Aaron Glenn's calling card. And the other thing, too, is Aaron Glenn's supposed to be a great cornerback. Can someone explain to me how no one can talk to Sauce Gardner and fix his technique? Can you talk to me about how Michael Carter and these corners are not even in the same zip code of some of these wide receivers? Like, just explain it to me. And Garrett Wilson, throw him the football. This is my other thing, and I'll get to some of the comments that are coming in the press box. But look, Justin Fields, when we look at his stats at the end of the day, we're going to look back and go, you know what? It seems that he had a good game. The numbers look pretty good. I will say this. It is not a good look. It is not a good look. You gave this game away to a bad football team. You gave this game away. And here's another thing. You want a fun stat with Justin Fields? Justin Fields is 0-25 when his team allows more than 20 points. Have to give NY Jets situation port a like about that one. That was a very good one there. But you're telling me you can't figure out ways to give touches to Garrett Wilson? You can't manufacture touches to Breece Hall out of the passing game? They are not just playing bad football. They are playing brain dead football. They are playing, ironically, Adam Gase started 0-4. His first win, week 5, home against the Cowboys. What's Aaron Glenn? First week at home against the Cowboys. But Aaron Glenn and this staff have just put people in bad positions. We knew Xavier Gibson was not a good football player. This team kept him, and he cost them a game in week 1. We knew his replacement wasn't any good. He let a fair catch go and fumbled a critical play. We also have common knowledge on a kickoff return. It's probably a smart idea that one of the 5 most important players on your offense isn't returning kickoffs in the second quarter. Why is Braylon Allen returning a kick? You have Arian Smith, Isaiah Davis. You guys lower on this depth chart who, if you lose them, it hurts. But if Braylon Allen's out for an extended period of time, you lost a key piece to this identity. You keep talking, you want to be the Lions. You want to have that David Montgomery power back. Well, that's Braylon Allen. And if you cost him that because you were putting him back on kickoffs, and if the answer to that question is, well, it's because we don't have anyone better on kickoffs, well, then whose fault is that? This is your roster. You have the choices to decide not only who is on this roster, but more importantly, who sticks and who's gone. You talk about accountability. You had Xavier Gibson cut week 1. You know what? Zaya Williams, see you later. You're gone. Steve Wilkes, you like Miami, right? Okay. Why don't you stay here? You don't have to get on the team play. Just stay here. You can sit by the beach. But again, the biggest thing for this team all season, and we said it in the preseason, you wanted to have hope in some direction from this team. They make it look close, but you look down. There are only 3 teams that are 0-4, and the Jets are one of them. The decade losing streak continues in Miami. A win would have done so much. You would have ended that dopey streak. You would have gotten your first win. You would have had this fan base feel excited about Monday night. I brought it up. Aaron Glenn, you say you want to not be the same old Jets. Well, this is another bad Monday night football memory we're going to have. I said it on the pre-show on Friday. I said, you know what, guys? Think of a positive primetime game. Maybe think of 1 or 2 moments. Think of bad ones. This is probably going to be up there. We're not going to forget Braylon Allen fumbling as he's trying to extend for a touchdown. We're not going to forget Isaiah Williams fumbling it and basically letting it roll out on the kickoff. There are so many times in this game where the Jets would tease you, but you knew in the back of your head it wasn't going to change. In the back of your head, you're like, I know this is a close game, but they are. I'm just looking at this schedule. Are you beating the Cowboys next Sunday? Are you beating the Broncos in London? I think your best shot's the Panthers. And even the Bengals with the backup quarterback, hey, at least they have great receivers who, we can't cover. We can't cover receivers. This is so frustrating. You want another fun stat? The Jets are the 5th team over the last 90 seasons. Only happened 5 times in 90 seasons to start 0-4 without a takeaway. The other ones, the 2005 Texans, the 2013 Steelers, the 2019 Broncos, the 2020 Texans, and now the 2025 Jets. Just when I'll give the Jets this. They're creative. They're creative. According to Rich Cimini, hearing loud voice to the wall of the Jets locker room as they sit in the press room sounds like an angry Aaron Glenn screaming at the team, and he has a right to be pissed. Well, you think he's pissed? This fan base is irate. And I think the more damn thing, I think it's going to turn to apathy. I said this in my previous show. If they lose the Dolphins, a lot of this fan base is going to check out. They'll check in. They'll watch on Sunday. But you know what they'll care about the next 3 months? It's not this team. It's what are the draft picks? What potential head coaches this continues to go south? What's the draft going to look like? What's the offseason? What pieces can we trade for future capital? That's what it's going to turn into. It's not, can this team make a run? The biggest thing with this team, and again, I'll get to your comments, super chat to jump to the front of the line. I think the most damning thing about this team is we wanted to feel like at least there was momentum heading toward ending this playoff drought. And it not only feels like we're not moving forward, it feels like we are being pushed down the hill. I don't know, BK. I really don't know. I don't. How's it possible that coaching has gone worse from Bulls to Gase to Sal to Ulbrich to Glenn? It's not a good look for Glenn, especially when you're a defensive coach and you can't stop teams. Part of the reasons these scores aren't that bad is sometimes the Jets hold on to the football, and a lot of these teams, let's be honest, the Dolphins took their pedal off the gas, which surprises me. If I was Mike McDaniel and my job's on the line, I would have tried to do a Bill Belichick. I would have embarrassed the Jets. I would have run them out of the building, but they didn't. Still did not have a forced turnover on defense. No one recovers. 2 fumbles, can't get it. And how many times tonight? 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10. Unless it's a 3rd and 15, you feel confident a team's converting. You feel like a team is going to get a first down. You feel like this Jet team has no shot to get off the field. How many times do we sit there on 3rd and 8 and it's a first down? 3rd and 9, it's a first down. This team, and it's maddening because I keep suggesting maybe put Juwan Briggs at defensive end more. I saw like maybe 1 or 2 snaps of that. Keep trying some other pieces. I'll give them this. They gave McGregor some more run today. They gave Kiko an opportunity. But again, Darren Glenn needs to take over this defensive play calling because right now it is just garbage. It is garbage. And again, the Dolphins, it's a misleading game because people are going to look at the box score and be like, the Jets had 400 yards of offense. They had 207 yards. Oh, okay. They had 7.1 yards per play. Yeah. They had big plays, but you know what? They also were playing against a team that took their foot off the gas. You also went up against a team that ran only 56 plays. They didn't get sacked. Dolphins had 6 penalties for 4 yards. The Jets had 13 for 101 and 3 fumbles. Not going to win that way. Not going to win that way. And here's the other thing before I get to some of the post-game conferences, and I think this has to be said because the box score to me is a bit misleading. Fields was 21-27. But tell me if I'm wrong. It felt like for the first 2.5 quarters that this team was afraid to let Justin Fields throw the football. That's what it felt like to me. They were trying to run into a point where I'm like, can you try to pass to open up the run game? And if it's because you can't pick up the blitzes, well, that's on you as the coaches that you haven't figured out those adjustments. It was so infuriating. I got to the point where I tweeted at the Rich Sports Talk on Twitter, said, do they know what Justin Fields throwing the football? And if that's the case, he shouldn't be playing quarterback. If you're afraid to throw the football, guess what? It's a problem. Because the other thing you have to look at this too is you're trying to get Justin Fields to work, but you're also trying to get, I don't know, Arian Smith to develop, Mason Taylor, your young tight end, to develop. It felt like at one point they were doing everything they could not to have Fields throw the football. And the only time they let him throw it was in this garbage time where they're down 2 possessions. Dolphins are only rushing 4. And okay, they're not putting heat on you so he can move it down the field. And they basically are saying, okay, we're not going to let him beat us with his legs for another incredible scramble, which again was an impressive play. But if you cannot beat a team from the pocket, you are not going to win games. You're not going to win games. You look at this defense too, like the guys they've brought in. Cisco is a disaster. Stevens had his better game, but he looked like a disaster. Like every player that this regime brought in to make an impact that wasn't a trade piece has looked horrendous. They look overmatched. They look overwhelmed. They don't look like they're in a position. In the secondary, looks horrific. And I'm at the point now, play Easy Thomas. What do you have to lose? Play Malachi Moore, because I'm telling you, Malachi Moore, at least I know he'll make an effort to try to tackle a running back. He'll at least try to bring down a running back. Tony Adams is like, you know what? I'll try, but I'm not going to put that much effort into it. It is scary because we're seeing this team at how bad they look. Aaron Glenn, very disappointing. There's no way you can win a game with 13 penalties and 3 turnovers, obviously. But what we have to do is go back to work. We have to understand that before we can win games, you have to learn how to not lose games. Well, you find great ways to lose games. I'll tell you that. I'll say you find creative ways to lose games. Let's see if we get some other quotes out here. I'm trying to see if there's any other Aaron Glenn updates or anything coming out. You know, it's frustrating too because you see guys like Garrett Wilson who are dying to win, and they're just seeing this going, what the heck? I mean, everything we wanted to be better is somehow feels worse. The discipline feels worse. The penalties feel worse. The preparation feels worse. The adjustments feels worse. And I will say this to this staff. You have a big mountain to climb now. Because whatever goodwill you have with the Jet fans, it's over. You're giving away games on a platter. You are not competitive. You are not a competitive football team. You know what we were promised, and we heard it time and time and time again for the last couple months? They promised we're going to see better discipline, fewer turnovers, and smart play. You know what we've gotten in 4 weeks? We've gotten terrible discipline. We've gotten no turnovers from this defense and bad turnovers from this offense. And we've seen an incredibly dumb football team. Does that sound familiar? Does that phrase sound familiar? Same old Jets. I'm going to give you, Aaron Glenn, some advice. You say that you're not the same old Jets. You know what? You know who tells you you're not the same old Jets? We do. And I said it. I said it on Friday when I did the preview. I said it's very simple. You want to be the big man, and you want to prove to this fan base that times are changing, that things are really actually changing for this team, that things are becoming different. You go into Miami, you win this football game against a bad team who's looking to fire their head coach, a team that I don't think Mike McDaniel survives the season. This regime in Miami doesn't survive the season. And you lose to that team. Everything was in front of you. Could have ended the losing streak in Miami. Could have made us proud in prime time. But instead, you get embarrassed in prime time. You lose another division game. You lose another game in Miami. It might be a different script, but the movie's the same. It's the same old Jets. All right, let's see if you got any more comments in here. Super chat to jump to the front of the line. More embarrassing than not getting stopped is everyone's secretary looks clueless. Like, yeah, they're so opposition. It's incredible. It is so freaking frustrating. There's no Robin to Garrett's Batman. They just need a number 2 receiver. Well, they were seemingly using one tonight. That's Mason Taylor. Apparently, remembered they had a second-round tight end to get involved in the game plan, and I thought Mason Taylor played well tonight. And the thing I liked about Mason Taylor is, unlike some of the guys on this defense, especially, he has a brain in his head. How many times have I seen these veteran Alan Lazards or these receivers on a third down where they need to get to the first, cut in and dive down and instead get a yard short? Where Mason Taylor is like, okay, I know I got to get the first down. I'll catch it on the inside shoulder and let the momentum take me over the first down marker. That was a heady play in this game. And they need to get Mason Taylor more involved. Sorry, I'm just bumping the microphone, I think, out of frustration at this point, or just bitter anger. It's just mind-numbing. It is mind-numbing how this team is playing. The Jets are the same. Bad coaching, bad play. JW. I mean, when it changes, I'll let you know. Yeah, Berrios actually made plays, and Berrios actually knows how to return kicks. He actually has to return punts and kicks. Like, can we somehow get Braxton Berrios back, please? Please. I mean, I thought the running game I thought started off great, but again, the problem with this running game is when you have a defense and a team that doesn't like to throw the football and you get behind the 8 ball, it's great when you're a good football team, you can get ahead, but when you keep falling behind, it is not good. Oh my God. Aaron Glenn, shut the hell up. I need to look at the tape, but for me, from the naked eye, it looked pretty good. What game are you watching? What game are you watching? You got to stop saying, look at the tape, look at the tape. Can you look at the game in front of you where your defense can't get anything done? Aaron Glenn, and you're the same coach in training camp. We will eliminate pre-snap penalties. You want to take a guess how many pre-snap penalties? Guys, let's play a game. Let's say a game chat. Who will get closer tonight? How many pre-snap penalties did the Jets have on offense? Do I hear a 1? Do I hear a 2? Do I hear a 3? Do I hear a 4? Do I need a 5? You know what? I need another hand. It was 6. 6 pre-snap penalties. 6 pre-snap penalties tonight. We're going to clean up and be disciplined. It's not discipline. That's not. And unfortunately for this fan base, it is just so mind-numbing. It is just so frustrating that you're watching this game. And again, the refs are bad in this game. I think they missed some bad calls. But the Jets don't get the benefit of that. And I just look at this Jets team. Like, I'm watching Garrett Wilson the postgame right now. The guy looks he looks miserable. He just looks miserable. And again, he's playing great. Garrett Wilson, it's disappointing. It's stuff we preach all throughout the week. AG preaches this players. We've got to get better on executing. That's ridiculous on the penalties. Justin Fields has asked how he keeps a positive attitude despite the start. We have 13 games guaranteed left. We can go on a run here. It's frustrating to start 0-4. I think tonight we shot ourselves in the foot by turning the ball over with the penalties. It's very frustrating. Isaiah Williams was asked what Aaron Glenn told him after his fair catch. We can't have that. We've got to be smarter. I would have had a lot other choice words for him. My first words to him after this game would be like, hey, clean out your locker. You know, Aaron Glenn asked how he avoids the here we go again mentality in the locker room. I think those guys know that this is a totally different deal as far as being woe is me. I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure we don't have that. Well, got to win ball games. Got to win ball games. We got to figure it out on the offense. I'm not losing hope in our guys. We just got to go back to work. That's all we can do. You know, it's so friggin' infuriating, this team. And this defense you don't have confidence in. Like, here's the thing. Like, what's the one thing the Jets do well? They can, I guess, run the football a bit. But outside of that, what do they do incredibly well? What are they good at? And you have to really struggle to even think of the answer. Again, Super Chat to jump to the front of the line. So get some more of your questions in here. If we draft the first-round quarterback, I don't want this coaching staff to coach him. The staff is incompetent. I don't trust them. I don't want to watch 4 years of this coaching staff. I'm always of the preach, the patience, but again, I got to see significant difference. Because right now, I'm seeing the same story over and over again. If I saw a team that was outmatched in the first 3 games, but didn't do stupid penalties, and it just was the talent difference, that's one thing. But this is a team that's on your talent level. And many people, including myself, foolishly thought you might have had more talent than the Dolphins. I mean, you had a team that's also going in the wrong direction. This is supposed to be a building block year. I mean, this is to me was one of the biggest games on your schedule, and you blew it. You blew it. And you did it on a national scale in front of this fan base who gives you so much, that puts so much time, energy, and money. I can tell you how many people I knew were going to this Jet game. How many people, how many friends of mine went and spent money to fly to Miami, book hotels in Miami. All we wanted was a group that was around 500, a feisty team, ground and pound. And we're not even in October. And we're talking about Tankathon and where the Jets will be drafting. That's not the team we wanted this year. You realize how far away this team is. And look, if Aaron Glenn wants to make a statement, you fire Wilkes. You fire Wilkes because he has been nothing but horrendous. He has been an absolute disaster. And let's face it, Miami dominated this game. Miami's not a good football team, but they dominated. At no point did you feel the Jets had momentum. At no point did you feel this team was dominating. Maybe that first series where they're running the ball and then the air gets out of the building when Allen fumbles on the 1. And then you let the offense go 96 yards. At that point, I think Miller's like, okay, this is going to be a long night. It was. Again, I don't know how many drinks you guys went through tonight to stomach this game. I don't know what cheat meal you had to get through this game, but it was brutal. It was brutal. It was death by 1,000 cuts. And this is a defense that you look at this team, Aaron Glenn offseason, we're going to be more aggressive. We're going to be in your face. We're going to create all these turnovers. The Jets do not have a takeaway in 4 games. That is hard to do. They don't have a takeaway. They haven't fallen on a fumble. They don't have an interception through 4 games. They're the only team in the league that has that. The only team. It's mind-blowing. We're going to clean up the penalties. Penalties are and I'll throw this to you, chats. What does this team do well? And what is something that this team looks good at? And here's another thing. Aaron Glenn, you want to play the style of football where you run the ball, play time and possession. You know what's hard to do? Play that when in the last 3 games, you've been outscoring the first half 67-28. When you want to run and dictate the clock, a little hard to do that. I don't know if you got to be more aggressive throwing the football. At this point, just let Justin Fields throw. You're 0-4. What do you have to lose? You have to figure out the question that is Justin Fields. Is he the franchise quarterback for this team? And I feel it's pretty evident he's not. And you talk about being aggressive. 4th quarter, 7 minutes left. You're down 2 possessions. You're punting. I know you have faith in your defense because somehow the magic spot for this defense seems to be the 3rd quarter in games where they can get a couple stops, but then when they need it in the 4th, they'll let it go. But you look at this team is just infuriating. 27-13 felt insurmountable with this offense, and it turned out to be the case. And they even converted on a 4th down. Great. But then you look at the bad clock management. You look at how they had no time. Like, this team is just, they're not well coached. They're not disciplined. They're doing dumb things on the field, and they're not talented. They're bad. JW, can you say 0-17? I don't think they'll go that far, but I mean, until you win a game and you get a crooked number in there, anything's on the table. And again, it's just so infuriating because this is the only Monday night game the Jets are going to be on. And they were a laughingstock. It wasn't that they lost. They were a laughingstock. It wasn't that they played a hard game. It was a close game. It was a back and forth game and something didn't go their way or a controversial call. It wasn't that. They got embarrassed. They got embarrassed by Miami, who is likely going to move on from their coach and their GM at the end of the season. That's all you need to know. Aaron Glenn could have done so much in this game. But instead, his players are making mistakes that you don't see in high school. His kick returner is fair catching on the 2-yard line. Here's another fun fact for Aaron Glenn. Talk about accountability. Why in God's name was Isaiah Williams out there for that punt? When he fumbled that, you're done for the night. You're done. Can't let you screw up the game anymore. Guess what? Came back in, screwed up the game again. Going to start the 2-yard line. Fan-freaking-tastic. This was a bad game. It is bad. Darren Waller scored 2 touchdowns in this game. Darren Waller, who's been out of the league for 21 months, had 2 touchdowns against your defense. 2 touchdowns. And now you're sitting here going 0-4. I know we talked ourselves into, well, the schedule gets easier. I don't know. This defense, I don't know. I don't know who you're going to stop. Hey, no, Aaron Glenn's screaming at this team. Great, you're screaming at this team. We've seen you've been screaming on the sideline all these games, all preseason. What's it done? This team's still embarrassing. This team's still making mistakes. This team is still undisciplined. This team continues to shoot themselves in the foot. You could see a path to 2-2 if this team was disciplined or smart or knew how to be buttoned up. They're not buttoned up. And I know the excuse of, well, it's a new regime. It takes time. Well, I'm looking around the league. Liam Cohen looks pretty comfortable. The Bears look pretty comfortable. Yeah, there's been rough spots, but they have wins. They have a sense of direction. They have a direction. The direction for the Jets is the wrong direction right now. It's not getting better. Like every week we're like, the defense is going to get better this week, and it doesn't. The defense is going to improve. It doesn't. You got to coach with the guys you have. And if your guys are getting burnt and getting beat by 10 or 15 yards on defense, you don't have the right game plan. You don't. Yeah, they made Miami look really good. I'm not going to lie. Drew Howard and Lenore, I think that'll be talked about. I do think they're in there. Let Arian Smith return the kicks and punts. At least let him try something. I'm done with him. I'm done with you let him return kicks. Yeah, we're already talking about the draft. You should have gone through. Look, I know a lot of people that wanted Rex. The problem I have with Rex is I don't know about his staff. And I know there was a story I talking to Connor Hughes where he was talking about being a head coach and he didn't know his staff was going to be. And I think that's a big thing. If Rex was like, God, why am I drawing a blank? Sean Payton. Sean Payton, when he came back to the Broncos, had a staff already picked out. Rex didn't. So Abby is done. Abby, I'm guessing like your profile picture, Christine, it feels like you got hit by a freaking car tonight. I think a lot of people are on Aaron Glenn. And let's be honest, it's going to take a lot to get most of this fan base back. Because you win a game, okay. You got to win more than a game. You got to win a couple games. You got to look like you have a sense of direction. And I know Aaron Glenn, the story's great. He's been here during the rough times. He was a former player. But this fan base is sick of it. This fan base, if they feel we're going backwards, I feel like one of the biggest things that also set this team back was Adam Gase. Adam Gase, we knew was a bad head coach. They won a couple of games late, but did it really change the culture? No. If the Jets somehow end up with a number 1 or 2 pick, does that entice a head coach because you get to pick a top-tier quarterback to develop? I mean, I could see Tanner Engstrom, but I'm looking at this head coach, and I'm looking at this defense, and the thing that concerns me is for all the warts with Robert Saleh, for all the warts, their defense was good for most of his tenure. His defense was a top 5 defense. Like, you could see the defense being good. You know what you haven't seen? This defense even be competent. We came in the season thinking this was going to be a top 15 defense. They're not even close. And the fact that this team didn't recognize the talent deficit on this roster and didn't address it in the free agency or in the draft, to me, is mind-numbing. This team doesn't have a number 2 receiver. This team doesn't have enough defensive edges. This team has a bunch of corners, but we don't know how many of them can play. And I'm at the point now, too, if you're a rookie, play him. Play him. Play AZ Thomas all the snaps you can. Play Brownlee when he's healthy, all the snaps you can. Play these young guys, because I'll tell you, some of these young guys, at least with Kiko, I could see he was hungry. He gives a damn. And I'm not saying the players don't care, but like so many of the players are just out of it. Andre Cisco looks like he's losing his mind out there at safety. I'm done with him. I'm done with Tony Adams. Malachi Moore should be playing. I'm sorry. That should be the case. And it's frustrating because once again, we're talking about another primetime debacle where this team just embarrasses this fan base on a national stage. You know you're going to hear about tomorrow. You know you get the text from your friends like, oh, what about the Jets? What are your thoughts on the game? And you're just like, roll your eyes and just like, oh my God, this is just embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And Abby brings up a good point. That's an alarming thing too. He's a corner. Somehow the corners have regressed. Sauce Gardner has not looked good. The ghosted Darren Waller beat him on a touchdown. Michael Carter has been cooked all season. And in a weird way, when he got injured, it looked like the secondary played better with Isaiah Oliver. I mean, come on. Yeah, Abby, I think that's I don't think they're going to defensive play. Abby, I don't think that's going to happen. Peyton said no. I don't think Arch is going to say yes. I do love the humor, though. Again, Super Chat, jump to the front of the line. Your thoughts on the game tonight. Going to check to see if there's any injury updates. Again, my big one's on Braylon Allen, who, again, why is he returning kicks? Why? Please tell me if someone's watched the presser and let me know in the comments. Please tell me, did someone ask him why in God's name Braylon Allen was returning kicks? Why? Because why is he out there? You lost maybe your number 2 running back for a long period of time. And again, especially if you're a Mets fan, these last 24 hours have to drive you absolutely. I'll tell you, they've driven me nuts. I talked about on my show earlier on the Mets, just trying to decipher this whole season and trying to figure out what they're going to do going forward. And now I'm here with the Jets thinking, okay, now I got to kick up the quarterback scouting reports I've been doing. I got to look into the draft. And like, you look at the starts, the Jets have been 0-4 a couple times. 1996, 1-15, 2003, 6-10, 2019, 7-9, 2020, 2-14. In the 2-14 year, we wanted them to go 0-16, for God's sake. So it's bad. It's just absolutely horrendous how this team has looked. And you know that old saying that our expectations were low, but holy F? That's how I feel with this coaching staff. I looked at this coaching staff and said, you have such a low bar to clear based on the coaching staff last couple seasons. You have such a low bar and a grace period and a likable coach that was weird here has history with the team that fans wanted to root for. But instead, in the span of 4 weeks, it feels like you have burned all of that goodwill because this team is still undisciplined. This team is out of position. This team doesn't show fight. This team doesn't look prepared. This team makes dumb penalties. This team has dumb turnovers. This team can't force a turnover. And look, it's as bad as it possibly can be. I mean, I look at the schedule. I think they're starting 0-6. And then we get to 0-6. Then we talk about, okay, we got the trade deadline. Who are the Jets trading? Does it make sense for them to keep Tyrod Taylor if they're not going to play him? Maybe get a draft pick to a team that desperately needs a quarterback? Are they going to trade Alan Lazard finally to Pittsburgh? Will Breece Hall be a trade target? I don't think anyone on this defense is really worth a target. Maybe one or two people, but not a lot. It was just absolutely infuriating. And the referees were bad tonight, but the Jets also have to put themselves in a position to get those calls. Some more quotes from the postgame. Breece Hall asked to stump the loss. Teams shoot themselves in the foot, then we come back and shoot ourselves in the head. I actually think that's the quote of the night. I think that's I think that's the best quote of the night from Breece. I think it's accurate. The Jets not only shoot themselves in the foot, they shoot themselves in the head just to make it more miserable. Sauce on the referees. I'm personally frustrated. I watch football. I just feel like I know if I'm wrong to say this, but I think I get called for more stuff just based on us not winning. I watch these winning programs, and there's some egregious calls that don't get made. We don't win, and I feel like we don't get the calls that we should, and we get calls we shouldn't get called for. Obviously, that's not why I want to win. I want to win because I don't like losing. Sauce, you just got to play better. Just play better. And, yeah, you know what happens when you win? You get the benefit of the doubt. When you have guys on a team like Michael Clemens that seemingly, unsurprisingly this week, he didn't have a personal foul. But when it's like this, you don't get the benefit of the doubt. It's just so infuriating with this team because the one thing, and let's get some of your final comments in here tonight. Again, I love some of the, I've just been saying less Braylon and more Breece. Saying it, I said before, 4-13. My expectations are still holding up great. Thomas Wagner. Who knows? At this point, Rex might be the only coach that wants to take over the Jets if this doesn't work. Drones, you might get your wish. You might get your wish. Yeah, 46 defense is a little much though. Okay, get your final thoughts in here. Super chat, jump to the front of the line, make a donation to the channel so we content. This to me, and I think you're going to see this fan base turn if this continues to go south. And unfortunately, I don't see this getting much better. Jets have lost 8 fumbles this year. They've fumbled 8 times, lost 6. They forced 5 fumbles. They have 0 recoveries. You look at this defense, they are a joke right now. They look absolutely horrendous. And I look at this team, and it is hard. But I am trying to find the positives. I am trying to find what this team is doing well. And I am trying to find ways that this can improve. But there is a lot of work to be done. And unfortunately for Aaron Glenn, I think you had a great opportunity to get some great goodwill from this fan base. I think that is out the window. You got a lot of work to do, and you got to prove to fans things are really different, or else they're going to be calling for your head. And I've already seen people calling for your head online now. I think it's unfair to expect the team to turn around a program in one season, but if the direction is horrendous and there's no improvement, sometimes changes just have to be made. In some ways, I think the Jets have been patient. I thought they were too patient with Sal. They were too patient with Joe Douglas. They were too patient with Adam Gase. I just feel like when you look at Aaron Glenn, like, what is this team doing well? And the most damning thing is, what are they doing better? And I'm going to give you advice to this organization. This organization that we love, this organization that drives us crazy. Let's look at it this way. And again, let's get to some of your questions. Listen, as AG says, much as it sucks, we're built for this. We have not had a winning season. Yeah, they're built for that. Over the league, there's great plays there where we get a fair catch at the 2-yard line. Yeah, that's the highlight Jets season. I started off the show with what I said on Friday, and I think it rings true. I said that this was one of those games where there were two paths for the Jets season. The first one is if you win in Miami, you build goodwill with this fan base, and you're able to build off of that and have a positive spin despite the 0-3 start. But I said if you lose this game, it's going to be a hard one to overcome because this is a game that many fans looked at saying this is a winnable game, and this is a prove me wrong game. The first 3 games you can explain. Better teams, better quarterbacks, better rosters, more experienced coaching. It was very simple, and I laid it out. I said, this win in Miami would check so many boxes off for Aaron Glenn. Beat a division rival. Beat a division rival on the road. Beat a division rival where you have not won in their building for a decade. A decade. Beat a team that not only is an 0-3 football team, desperate for a win, but beat a team who has the hottest seat under their head coach, who some even speculated if you won this game, Aaron Glenn and this regime, Mike McDaniel may have been fired tonight or tomorrow. But instead, the Dolphins have life. And instead, the Jets could at least, if the Jets won this game, they could say, you know what? We're not as bad as the Dolphins. We're still in 3rd place. We're 1-3. We have a chance. But instead, you look up. Once again, the Jets are in the basement. They're 0-4. They look up. Patriots had a great week with Mike Vrabel and their quarterback. They see Tua, even though he has his warts, was able to put up a fun game today. And the Jets, once again, have gone through a horror show on primetime. Jet fans were scarred by primetime. The last 2 years especially, we kept getting put in primetime because of Aaron Rodgers. And it just kept getting more embarrassing and embarrassing and embarrassing. Primetime is a horror show for the New York Jets and this fan base. Because it's not just bad that we lose in these games. It's the ways we not only lose, but make it a joke. Only we could somehow fumble while stretching for a goal line. No other team could do that. Only we could fumble the opening kickoff to the second half when we have some momentum. Only we could do that. Only we could go for a 4th down, not only not get it, but fumble and go backwards 20 yards. Only the Jets could do that. Only the Jets could torture this fan base for 3 hours on prime time, make you question your decisions as a fan, make you question your decisions, make you now dread going into work tomorrow, where you look back and you go, great. You're going to have to defend why you're a Jet fan tomorrow. And I can't believe the Jets. You see what the Jets did last night? It's always with the glee when another person comes up to you and it's, oh, I can't believe the Jets did that. Lol, Jets. Aaron Glenn had an opportunity to make a statement tonight. He had an opportunity to make an emphatic statement. He could have said, we're not the same old Jets. Gone into Miami, beat them, showed that he was turning the ship around, showed that this team was disciplined, showed that this team was going in the right direction, showed that this team was not the same old Jets. Instead, they went out with a whimper. They went out with a whimper. And instead of getting rid of that disgusting term that we hate as fans, we're all saying it tonight. We're all saying it after this game. Say it with me, Jet fans. It's the same old Jets. Thank you for joining us on Rich Sports Talk. Once again, we are live after every single Jets game. Make sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss our latest live stream. We'll be bringing you more sports content, including the Mets, Jets, and Giants throughout the season. We're also expanding to uniforms. We got a lot of great content coming to the channel. So make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss any of it coming up. Again, thank you everyone for joining us in the live stream. I like to say this is cheaper than Jets therapy. So Make sure to like and subscribe. We also want to use that algorithm on YouTube to get more Jet fans as a part of our community. They're always great, and you guys ask so many great, insightful questions, although I know some of you have this opinion on the season as Thomas Wagner does. Again, we will have more content coming to you, so make sure to like and subscribe. If you want to listen to us on the go or miss the show, you can listen to us wherever podcasts are available. But again, the Jets are 0-4. Not much else to say. A frustrating loss in Miami. The House of Horrors continues in Miami. And we will now have 13 weeks to see what this coaching staff can muster and show that they can turn this around. Thank you all for joining us on Rich Sports Talk. We will see you next time.